Jesse, what's up, man? Jesse, good seeing you, bro. Sorry about that. Coming onto the stream today, or the podcast. I didn't have my cup of coffee. I'm such an amateur. But I wanted to introduce yourself, Jesse. You're a good dude, and I want everybody to know everything about you. So I want you to introduce yourself, where we can find you, how long you've been in the content creation field.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I'm JesseKazam. You can find me on everywhere, basically Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all the places, all JesseKazam. I've been streaming and making content for, I guess, like 5 years now. Yeah, coming up on 5 years now. So it's been a blast for sure. Yeah,
you are a big content creator, like in regards to everything, mainly YouTube. Now, I know you're a big YouTube guy. I actually... Yeah. So there's a question later in the podcast, but I went back in your YouTube to try and figure out what games you might have played before Tarkov, and there wasn't anything. So speaking about going into Tarkov, and I like I just said, you produce good content literally everywhere. YouTube is a big hitter for you, and so today's podcast, we're not only going to talk about your streaming journey, but I wanted to kind of get into your YouTube expertise. So I'm going to start off with a tough question. Do you like YouTube content or streaming more? Like, if you had to choose one, which one?
I enjoy streaming more.
Okay.
But I think YouTube is more important.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
No, that 100% makes sense. I had to start off with a super tough question because I know it's like best of both worlds, right? So
yeah,
YouTube content, or well, you said streaming, enjoying streaming more, and then YouTube content. Okay. I was just making sure. Thank you, by the way, for being on the podcast today. I just wanted to say cheers to you. I know you got your cup of coffee, but cheers to you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast today, man. I really appreciate you. And I know you're a very busy man. You are busy literally everywhere doing, family stuff, whether it be YouTube, whether it be streaming. So I appreciate you being on today. So,
of course.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Dude, it's going to be a blast today. There's going to be a lot of deep conversations planned for today, but I wanted to ask, how is Jesse? Like, how are you today? Like, what's going on? Like, tell us about yourself.
I'm good.
You're doing good?
We're coming out of like we were just talking before this really quickly of like 6-8 weeks of the sickness just being passed around my whole family. We got 2 little ones. One's in kindergarten, which is just like a cesspool for germs, and it's fall time, so it's been. But we're finally pulling out, so we're doing good.
That's
but man,
awesome.
I got nothing to complain about. I love,
That's good.
I love life.
Now, I would like to point out, I did DM you. You DM'd me a few days ago, and you were like, hey, like I like spending time with family on Saturdays. And so that's why the podcast today is at 1:30. How was family time today? I assume you spent it
was good. It was good.
Nice.
Yeah, man. We went to Home Depot, does like kids crafts every month where you get to go and they have tables with hammers and screws and glue and paint, and so we always do that because we got 2 boys, so they love nothing more than to go to Home Depot and smash a hammer onto a table for an hour. So it was good.
That's
it was good times.
So cool. Hell yeah. Well, that's awesome. Now, getting into today, we already talked a little bit about coffee. Now, I know this question, but I did have to ask, are you a big fan of coffee, Jesse?
I love coffee so much.
We all love coffee. It's a vibe. I always tell people that coffee is more than a drink. It's like getting to sit down and have a cup of coffee with chat is one of the best feelings for me. And I assume it's the same exact thing. Wake up super early, cup of coffee. It's made. It's great. I love coffee. Do you have a favorite blend by chance?
So I get coffee I found like a pretty local kind of like roastery. They roast their own beans and stuff like that, so I get like a medium roast from them that I've been really enjoying. I've been wanting to I'm so like ritual with it, so I've been getting the same coffee for so long, but I've been wanting to branch out and try some fancy coffees and stuff, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Dude, I don't know. So this isn't in the question sheet, but have you seen those coffees that they make I think it's like Indian coffee, but they put it in hot sands? Have you seen that?
Dude.
Bro,
I've seen those videos.
That.
Yeah, dude. It looks like hot chocolate. It looks so good and creamy and delicious.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's funny that you actually mentioned that you have a little roast place near you. Because I've been getting a guy that has been getting coffee all around the world recently, and I'm actually sipping today on a Papua New Guinea blend. So I didn't even know they made coffee over there. I guess they do. Yeah, I know. But no, when you get that PO box and stuff set up, I'm gonna send you a bunch of coffee for you to try. 100%.
I'm down.
Now, with your coffee, I have to ask, what's your go-to breakfast? Coffee is a good time of day, so it's breakfast.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I just don't eat breakfast.
I don't either. But like
ever
Saturdays or Sundays when you sit down,
yeah,
like go out to Denny's, what you get?
Yeah. Okay. Probably, I'm a big like waffle over pancake type of guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think waffle's
100%.
the superior carb heavy breakfast food.
Yeah.
100%. Or like an omelet or something.
Yeah. No, 100%. I my go-to is the Hardy Man's combo from Denny's or what? No, I think it's from Perkins. It's like sausage links, bacon. Oh my God, dude! I love a full breakfast. Yeah. That's my go-to.
Yeah. Whenever we go to like Cracker Barrel, it's called the Country Boy, and it's like a steak and eggs and hash browns and biscuits. Yeah, dude. That's
my God, that's so good. I had chocolate chip pancakes before that, but this is making me hungry already, bro.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, so besides coffee, you are a big fan of pizza. I mean, considering your gorgeous stints built in the back is the shape of a pizza box. I did have to ask, what's your go-to pizza order? I'm sure you get that a lot.
Yeah. My favorite topping combination is pepperoni and banana peppers. I don't know if you've ever had that on pizza.
I've never had that on
pizza. But it's a perfect combination.
Okay. Are you now? I gotta ask because this is so many people dislike this on pizza, especially is mushrooms. Are you a mushroom guy? I love.
I'm not a mushroom guy. I've never been. I've tried. I've had mushrooms on pizza before. It's more like the texture of it than necessarily the taste of it.
Yeah.
That
makes sense. 100%. I'm a big, like I said, I'm a big mushroom, sausage, and pepperoni guy. But I fully respect the banana peppers. I don't like banana peppers that much.
I feel you. I'm normally so growing up, it's all when you're young, it's all about like the meats. I want bacon, I want sausage, I want ham, I want like pepperoni, I want everything. As I've matured and grown up, I feel like I'm trying to balance like something super salty like a meat with like a vegetable. So like onions, I like green peppers, I like on pizza, and so do something a little jalapenos even. Something to go along with the meat.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But, I mean, pizza's good. At the end of the day, if you're eating pizza, I'm a happy man.
Yeah, true.
I'm the guy that I'll gladly just pick it off. Like, I'm not like, mushrooms has touched my pizza, I'm not going to eat it. It's
dude,
like, let's get a Supreme.
Those people are the worst.
No, they are, dude.
I hate those people.
Let's split a Supreme. I'll just pull the mushrooms off and we'll all have good pizza. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't no thing.
Fair.
Yeah.
The best type of person is you, Jesse. The people that don't complain about it, man.
Dude.
It's not on the question sheet, but I want to ask, do you have any favorite type of like crust of pizza? Like, I'm a big Brooklyn style pizza. Are you like
So New York style is probably like the most pizza I've eaten, but it's like my comfort pizza. Recently, I've been eating, there's like a place around here called Jets, and it's Detroit style pizza, and that is so good.
It's like I heard about that because I have a few friends from Detroit. It's like a kind of like a pie crust, right? Or not pie crust, but
it's almost like a focaccia bread loaf.
Yeah.
So it's like deep dish, but not Chicago style where like there's not, you know what I mean? They fill it with sauce and cheese. It's more like just a super doughy, delicious like loaf of bread that they make pizza on top of, and it's really good.
100%. I've heard about the Detroit style, but the Chicago style I've had. I hate it. I dislike it. I don't like it. The sauce on top of the cheese, no thank you.
Yeah. It's a vibe. It's not something I'd want all the time, but like every once in a while, it's a nice change.
Okay. Well, that noted. I'm not gonna get any near here in Small Town, PA, but I will definitely take a note of that. So this was kind of weird, and it was such a weird thing to Google. Like, if you go back in my search history, not only are you gonna find some weird stuff on there, but you are also gonna find what I looked up yesterday is coffee pizza. Now, I'm going to screen share real quick. This is, if you did not know, there is such thing as coffee pizza. Let me share my screen here.
Is this coffee flavored pizza or pizza flavored coffee?
This apparently is a Japanese thing, and it's called Wiener coffee pizza. Now, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to go to this screen for you, and then we're going to do that. And then I'm going to turn off my camera. There we go. So I found this. I don't know. You can see it, right? Like, it's
yes,
good to go.
I can.
So this is a coffee flavored pizza. Don't ask me about the whipped cream. I have no clue what's going on there. But I don't know if you can see that coffee. It has a wiener in it.
Why?
Listen, your guess is as good as mine. Like I said, my search history is crazy right now. I found it's some small Japanese cafe that does coffee pizza with wiener coffee.
That feels like ChatGPT made this image up. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way.
Some sort of AI made this. Yeah.
There's no way, dude.
Oh, no, it was funny because I had to make like pizza and coffee a thing because you're a big pizza guy. I'm a big coffee guy. So I was like, I have to find something that's like coffee flavored pizza. And this came up and I just wanted to discuss it with you. That's just disgusting. A wiener and coffee is crazy.
Yeah, it's like I would try the pizza maybe, whipped cream, who knows? But the wiener and the coffee, man, what we've crossed the line. We've crossed the line.
Little kielbasa sausage in the damn coffee, huh? Nah, that's funny. I had to screen share that. I had to show that to you before we got into the podcast today. No, that is hilarious. Here, let me pull that back up for you. And yeah, so I'm glad that we brought that up because that coffee is disgusting. But I did want to ask a little bit of a hot take before we get into some deep questions.
Okay.
I have to ask, Starbucks or Dunkin'? If you are the go-to one.
Starbucks. Yeah. I like Starbucks. I'm one of those guys that, like, once again, I don't care enough about anything to complain about anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, so I like to my friends, I'm like absolutely a coffee nerd. Like I do the pour over, I weigh the coffee, I try to, pour, a certain speed, it's all like I do it. It's pour over, I drink it black. But like, I'll then if we're going to Starbucks, I'll get a Frappuccino. I'll get like the unicorn Frappuccino. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not like elitist about coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't care. This is what I like because I think it tastes good. But I'll go get anything. We go get Starbucks all the time. My wife likes Dunkin'. I just think I just view Dunkin' as, and this is probably unfair if you work at Dunkin'. Don't hate me. I view Dunkin' as like, they are donut people that were forced by corporate to like, here's how to make an espresso. And at Starbucks, it's like you kind of, when you go to apply for a job that you have to like, I'm going to learn how to make coffee.
Yeah, Starbucks is a coffee shop. Dunkin' is like a donut shop.
Yeah,
I guess
it's like nobody gets a job at Dunkin' because they're super hyped to learn how to make a latte. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
And so it's like I'm more of a Starbucks person.
That's so funny that you bring that up. That's actually a very good point that I never thought about. I used to love Dunkin', and then I've been going to Starbucks on Wednesdays on my off days, and I've been loving their vanilla sweet cream cold brew. Which gets me into my next question. I have to ask, are you a like black coffee type of guy or you put a creamer in yours?
Mostly black. If I'm going to Starbucks or something like that, and I feel like it is going to be a little bit less controlled, they're moving quick, they're trying to get everything out, then I'll do cream sometimes. I like the sugary drinks. I think I've just like have gotten, my palate is just so like the super sugary ones, just I can't even finish them. You know what I mean? So like they're good, I'll drink them, but so most of the time black or with like a little bit of cream to like cut some of the bitterness.
100%. Like I said, I'm a big fan of that vanilla sweet cream cold brew. I don't know if you've had it, but it's very good. It tastes like it's delicious. It's almost like a burnt flavor. It's very hard to explain. It's like it's really, really good. Now, getting away from coffee and everything, I wanted to move towards the gaming subject. I know we're both avid Tarkov gamers. However, I want to take it way back. Tell me where you first started your gaming career. Like, what games/consoles did you start with?
So, like, okay. So, I think we were talking about this the other day. I think the first console I remember playing as a kid was like a Super Nintendo. Okay. Like Mario and stuff like that. I think, I think like the most formative, like early console I played a lot was like the N64. Yeah. You had GoldenEye, you had Smash Brothers, you had Donkey Kong 64, you just had Mario Kart, Mario Party. You had a lot on the N64. But yeah, I've been gaming, I'm sure we all have, just like our whole life off and on. But as far as like the Tarkov, or as far as like the gaming career, like when I very first started streaming, I was actually streaming Fortnite, and that was like 2 weeks. Yeah, like 2 weeks. You know, I had 2 viewers. It was me on my phone and my buddy that streamed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then pretty quickly we moved into Tarkov.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I started actually on a Nintendo 64 too, and then I had a GameCube. I never played GoldenEye, but is there any of those games that kind of give you a lot of nostalgia? GoldenEye, I'm sure, is one of them.
GoldenEye is insane. Super Smash Brothers, the original one.
Yeah.
GameCube, I was talking to somebody the other day about like the original Animal Crossing on GameCube. Like, dude, I played so much Animal Crossing on GameCube. Oh man, that Super Smash Brothers Melee on the GameCube. Yeah, dude, we worked through, like, I wasn't a PC gamer until basically Tarkov. Yeah. And so I worked through pretty much all the consoles. But yeah, some of those early, I mean, Nintendo kind of killed it at first, right? The N64, the Super Nintendo, the GameCube. It wasn't until around GameCube era that like PlayStation, PS2, Xbox, and stuff like that started coming out.
That was back in the day when you had to plug in the red, yellow, and white cables into the TV, bro. I remember that. And then you accidentally took out one of them, and it's just like the audio's messed up, the screen starts lagging.
100%, dude. Oh,
I know I'm young.
Such a different time.
I know I'm young, but I do remember those days. Do not worry.
Yeah, man.
That's funny.
Good times.
Now, I said this earlier. I went back in your YouTube and to kind of get a sense of something that you might have played, and I only found Tarkov. I should point out the dedication to Tarkov and the community that you have grown throughout the years is incredibly inspiring. I do want to ask, has Tarkov always been your favorite has it been your favorite game ever since you got introduced to it?
I mean, like, I don't know that it's definitely the game I've spent the most time in by a long shot, right? But yeah, I mean, I think, like, I don't know, it was such an interesting kind of like moment for me. I had built a computer separately, unrelated to gaming. For some reason, my buddy got me into this idea of like, I wanted to build a Hackintosh. Have you ever heard of Hackintosh?
No, I haven't.
So it's like, it's this community of people that builds PCs, but then basically like spoofs Mac OS into being able to run on their PC. So it's like best of both worlds. Because I grew up, I was a Mac dude. I worked at Apple for like 5 years. Like I was like an iOS Mac guy my whole life. And I don't know why, I just got like, my friend showed me this website where like all these people would post about their Hackintoshes, and I just got it in my head. I was like, I have to build a Hackintosh. So I did, and I figured out how to. That was the first PC I ever built was a Mac. Like it's so weird. But then I remember having it and being like, well, I'll just put another hard drive in, put Windows, and then I can game on it. So then I started gaming on it, and then it was just like such an interesting time where like a business that we had for a really long time, we had kind of shut down. So I had a little bit more free time. I didn't have like a hobby, like a real hobby that I was doing. I had missed gaming. We had moved recently. I didn't have a lot of my gaming friends. I had this PC that now I had like a Windows partition on. And I remember seeing like Grims and Summit playing Tarkov. And I was like, yo, this game looks crazy and weird and fascinating. And so it was such an interesting time because I don't think I would have so we as someone that plays Tarkov, the hump is brutal.
Yes.
When
learning
you're new
curve,
to the game.
Terrible.
The learning curve is hard, and that hump is brutal. And I really don't think I would have made it over that hump if I hadn't been streaming it.
Oh, really?
I had another reason to just keep going,
to get better too and stuff.
Like I started streaming Tarkov when I probably had less than 10 hours in Tarkov.
What?
Like, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
like
that is crazy.
And it was, I probably had less than 10 hours in Tarkov and less than 50 hours playing PC games.
Dude, what? Yeah. That is crazy.
When I first started streaming, I bought like an MMO keyboard thing that had a joystick on it because I couldn't figure out how to play on mouse and keyboard. I was a controller guy. I needed a stick to move around. Like I was like streaming Tarkov with this stupid thing. I mean, obviously, eventually I was just like, I have to figure out how to play with the keyboard.
Yeah.
But like, so it was super weird of me to do that because most people's stories are like they're playing games a ton and they want to start streaming this game that they've played a ton.
Yeah.
But I just like, it was like around the time Fortnite was blowing up, Ninja was blowing up, streaming was blowing up, Twitch was blowing up. I had I knew what Twitch was, but I wasn't super into the culture until that kind of like zeitgeist of Fortnite and Ninja, you know, brought a lot of people back. And I don't know why. It's so weird looking back on it. I was just like, I just want to stream. I just want to try streaming. And so I'm just gonna stream this game Tarkov and we'll see what happens. And so like I truly don't even know if I would have made it over the hump as a new PC gamer and a new Tarkov gamer if it hadn't been for this, like, well, I want to stream it, so I got to keep going.
That's crazy. Yeah, like you said too, like majority of people that start streaming, especially Tarkov and stuff, it's kind of like, yeah, I've been playing this game for 7 years and I'm just going to start now, you know, but like 10
or I
hours.
have 7,000 hours in CS, so, you know.
like me. So, my dumbass.
Like, nothing, dude. Nothing.
No,
I've never played Counter-Strike. I've played, you know, maybe 10 other PC games since I started.
Crazy. That's so cool, though. That just goes to show you. I feel like a lot of people are discouraged nowadays because they feel like they can't become a streamer or content creator if they're not necessarily good at a video game. You know, and I think that's very inspiring that you started when you necessarily didn't know the game that well. You know, 10 hours, you probably didn't know what an IFAK was. You know, you didn't know how to bind your shit. You know?
No, I was awful, dude. My first few, like, I remember, like, my first few times I was streaming that, like, random people started showing up. I was, like, offline, nighttime on Shoreline, pitch black, no flashlight, no nods, and I was looking for the extract. And people were like, what are you doing, bro? Like, my stream is just like a pitch black screen. And I'm just like, you just hear the sound of me running. And I don't know where the extract on Shoreline is. And people are like, why are you streaming this? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't know.
That is so funny, bro. Yeah. That's how I was. So I had like 3,000 hours before I started streaming. But I remember going into a night raid one time and my post effects are so messed up. I look over at my look over at my OBS and the night vision just made the entire screen green, and everybody's like, bro, we can't see right now. I'm like,
can't see anything.
I'm like, all right. Now, getting into Tarkov, we just mentioned how it's kind of been your favorite game and something that you play a lot. Are you happy where Tarkov is going? Now, I know it's going to be a very controversial question in today's world, but are you happy with where Tarkov's going right now?
I think so. Like, I don't know. You know, I still love playing this game. And I know that like there's like a big movement now, you know, of like 11-7, you know, was the best time ever and stuff like that. And I don't reject that wholly. I'm very willing. So I think there was a time when I was playing Tarkov that like I was that guy where like everything the devs are doing is great. Like I was just that guy where I was like, shut up, man. Like where the game's moving in the right direction. You just have to trust the devs. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think the devs are bad at all, but I'm at a point where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe there were some things that were better or more fun or more fluid or more engaging or more entertaining around that time. But my thing is just like, it's so hard to look back with the rose-colored glasses. You know what I mean? Like people have always complained about something. So it's like back in 11-7, we were complaining about just different things. We were complaining about hatchlings, or we were complaining about
ammo
how
meta.
The HK had no recoil, or how everyone was putting mags in their secure container and stuff like that. Like, it's so funny because like back then people were arguing like PvP is not profitable. You know, I killed these guys and they don't have any ammo. They don't have any mags. All their mags are in the, and it's like, and now people are like, man, PvP is not profitable. I wish it was like 11-7 back when it's like, oh man, we were complaining about the same stuff. You know what I mean?
No, that's
like I said, I don't think I reject that sentiment completely. I think there were things that were more fun about the game back then for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think I'm super excited for what's coming in like the wipe in December. I think that has got me kind of more excited about the future of Tarkov than I've been for a while. So
yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up, because with the wipe in December, or well, before the wipe, that we assume the release of Arena is right around the corner.
Yeah,
I'm assuming you're super excited for it, considering you played it. You played it at Vegas.
Yeah. Super pumped for Arena. Yeah, absolutely. I think like, you know, my gut tells me that like Tarkov is going to be where I still spend most of my time.
I agree.
But I think it's just new. It's just something new. And I think like, you know, you probably agree, like people who have been playing Tarkov a lot just like want something new. They just want, I want something to feel new. There's still so many questions and so many big things that are going to come to Tarkov. And I think like, you know, a lot of people have mentioned that they think like, you know, do you think Arena's going to kill Tarkov? Do you think the raids are going to be dead? I think at this point, if you've played Tarkov, you're addicted to the feeling of Tarkov. Like you wanna, when I kill someone, I want to take your stuff and make it mine. Like that's not going to be an arena. You know what I mean? I want to see that number go up. I want to have millions of rubles. I want the intent. Like I want that moment of like killing a boss and finding a green key card. Like I think there's a lot of things about Tarkov that keep us addicted that obviously won't be an arena. But I think like Arena's just going to be like new and such a good like chill game to just like vibe with the homies.
It's going to be a warm up, in my opinion. I might 100%. Use it to you know, 30 minutes before stream every day, or you know, even on stream, like just stream a few matches of Arena and then go to Tarkov, right? Like, that's how 100%. It's going to be.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I'm very, very excited for Arena. I'm very, very excited for something new. And like a great way to end a wipe, right? Like the last few weeks of the wipe was normally when we're like, oh my God, you know, when is the wipe, you know? But to have something new and just to play, like, will be fun. Yeah,
it's 100%. And I hope they perfect it as best as they can, because like I said, we played in Vegas, right? Speaking about playing Arena, what is something that the people that are watching right now that weren't at Vegas, what can they expect from it?
I mean, just fast-paced PvP nonstop. Like it was super interesting. Like what I'm excited to see is like how map metas shift, because like I haven't played, but I've watched at this point in my life enough like CS to know that there's all the really intricate call outs. You know, people are smoking off certain lanes. You know, there's lots of stuff. At Vegas, we were all just like shift Wing around, just trying to fight, right? There was no strategy because we never played the maps before. So it was fast-paced, just tons of PvP, tons of swinging corners, but I'm super interested to see how like the call-outs form and how the strategies form and stuff like that.
I can't wait to see what maybe like some professional teams are going to come up with, because like you said, like with Counter-Strike, you know, coming from Counter-Strike, some of the strats that we called and some of the things that we practiced before game days and stuff were crazy. Like we're talking like 3 smoke splits and then, you know, push towards B, out this door, push through this window. Like it was crazy. I want to see some of the stuff in that, like with Arena. I'm super excited for it.
For sure. It'll be interesting to see if that meta starts to form as well, because that's so different than how Tarkov feels and 100%. Flows. So it'll be interesting to see if it can scratch that itch too.
Yeah, I 100% agree. To get away from Tarkov though, gaming for me has been a distraction like my entire life. And it's something I use to kind of get away from life sometimes. I wanted to ask, is that how it started for you? With gaming kind of like being a distraction, or is it like just something where like after school you and all your buddies, you know, hopped on and played?
So yeah, for me it's the most memorable gaming experiences I have are all around like community and like hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. I love, like, I'm a really interesting, I feel like I'm a really different gamer in that sense. I've been playing games my whole life. I love games. I consume a ton of content of games. I remember reading Game Informer magazine back in the day. I bought all the games. I had all the consoles, but I've probably beaten like 10% of the games I've ever owned.
Really?
Yeah. Because if I wasn't playing with another person, I would lose interest really quickly.
That makes sense.
Like, I would get so hyped for this new game, this new RPG, The Witcher, or the new Fallout, and I would play it a ton, and I would just like lose interest. I don't know. But the games I played the most were like going all the way back, you know, Smash Brothers, because it was we always had people over, you know, Mario Party or Mario Kart. We always had the friends over, we were playing.
Yeah.
The games I played a ton were like, you know, like The Division and Destiny, because it was such a communal thing. It was the friends, we all got off work and we would do some raids in Destiny or something like that. So for me, it was like less of a distraction, because I would almost get distracted from gaming if I didn't have homies to play with that community. So like, that is why streaming clicked so well for me, was because it was like, there's always homies to hang out with,
and it kind of has that sense of community, like you said. 100%. You know, you start streaming and then you start getting new messages and people DMing you and asking to play, you know, and asking for help. It's a really cool part about streaming that a lot of people don't talk about, is the community in regards to like having people to talk about the same exact thing. You know, like we all play Tarkov, And the fact that I can go from my stream to your stream and start talking about, hey, how do you feel about this meta right now or whatever? And you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about is so huge for a lot of people and a lot of new viewers. So I'm glad you brought that up. So it seems to me that you're a very, not community-based gamer, but like friend-based gamer. You have to almost have friends to play. Have you tried Lethal Company?
Dude, no, not yet, but I've been seeing so many clips, dude. It looks like such a good time.
I had to ask because it's a perfect game for friends. Like you would love it with a bunch of friends. So you've been in the gaming scene. I'm sure you've seen the change over the years, you know, whether it be gaming itself from PC gaming and console gaming. I gotta ask that, what do you think of the future of gaming is gonna look like?
Dude, that's a great question.
I think VR.
Great question.
I think realistically, I think VR.
I'm super interested to see how VR turns out. I kind of keep an eye on it, and like I was watching some videos the other day about some like really new VR headsets that are like super light, super low latency, great resolution on the screens, and I was like, dude, like that looks fun. Like that, you know, that finally is like, yo, I think. So I'm interested to see that. It's super interesting to see the gaming world shift towards like almost like all multimedia these days, where like everything is like Grand Theft Auto 6. Yeah. I don't know if this is real, but I heard the budget was like almost $1 billion.
What? I didn't hear that.
Like
it's a lot of money.
Like I just like everything is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You know what I mean? And so like I'm super interested. You know, we've seen so many changes where like, you know, there was the rise of the early access game. And then, you know, we had a lot of negatives that came with that, a lot of games that never came out, a lot of games that scammed some people. And you've got, you know, the sentiment towards larger publishers like EA and Bethesda is kind of at an all-time low. Yeah. So you still have some of the indie devs doing interesting stuff. And then you just have like, it feels like today games either get made with like $500 million or like $50. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those two.
And it turns out the $50 games are sometimes some of the best times. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's the crazy part.
But then what happens is when 1 million people start playing the $50 game, that, you know, look at Tarkov, right? Tarkov was always supposed to be this super small game. Then they weren't ready for what happened. And now like, you know, they've struggled with anti-cheat and just a bunch of stuff they never thought they were going to have to deal with. And so it's like, then you get games that were supposed to be one thing that are now another thing. And so I'm just like super interested to see like a game that I follow religiously, and I don't play it too much, but is Star Citizen.
Okay.
And like they've raised like $700 million. Like it started as a Kickstarter. Now they've raised like $700 million. It's like, and it's like the most ambitious video gaming project of all time. And it's also like regarded as a scam by almost everybody on the internet. And so it's just like stuff like that. It makes me wonder about the future of gaming and like what it's going to look like. But I feel like it's continuing to go towards that like persistent online experience. You know, everyone's, you know, worried about building worlds now. Like we have to build a world and this world has to be alive at all times. And it'll be interesting to see for sure.
I think what sucks about the gaming industry nowadays is that a lot of game developers focus quantity over quality, and I just dislike that. That's why I think I've stuck around Tarkov so long. You know, not only is it my job, but I feel like Battlestate, for the most part, has the player's interests in mind, and nowadays big game developers don't have that, right? Like look at Call of Duty, for example. Modern Warfare 3 I've heard so many bad things about.
Same.
Not saying that it's, you know, bad by any means, but it's a copy and paste. You know what I'm saying? Like it's exactly what it was a year ago and some. So it just sucks. Everything nowadays just seems a lot of quantity over quality, which I'm glad that I kind of brought that up because I wanted to bring up Tarkov once again. We are going to actually stream something. I'm going to stream a Tarkov tier list map. Now, let me pull up the Google Docs again. We are going to do a tier list of the best maps in Tarkov in your opinion. So this is going to get you probably canceled on Twitter because nowadays everything gets you canceled on Twitter. But I'm going to bring this up. Let me stream this. Let me take my camera away. There we go. A lot of moving parts of podcasts. I'm sure you know all about it.
Oh, yeah. You're good. You're good.
Here we go, though. I found this tier list the other day. I don't know. You can see this. We're good to go. I'm just making sure you can see it. Okay. Awesome. we have Arena. So you're going to give your thoughts on Arena. We have Customs, Factory, Interchange, Labs, Lighthouse, Reserve, Shoreline, Streets, and Woods. One thing I should point out, we're going to try and make this as best as possible for audio viewers because they don't have a screen in front of them. But I do want to start off. Let's skip Arena for now and just start off with Customs. Chad, good, mid, bad, Timmy.
I'm going to go... So is Timmy bad?
I don't know. I'm going to switch this a little bit. I'm going to do S,
because the green and the red. Okay, yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Customs, I will put B.
Okay. B's here.
I think it's in my mind one of the most balanced maps.
Okay.
But I think what happens is you get like a lot of there's a lot of you got a bunch of Giga Chad sweats and you got a bunch of low tier Timmys, and so some days it just almost feels bad that you're just pub stomping people, you know what I mean? And it's
I know exactly what you're saying. Sometimes I wonder if I have skill-based matchmaking on Customs because it's like I run into either a level 3 Timmy or a level 68 Chad. No, that's a very good point. We'll leave Arena for last, by the way. Factory. Okay. So we have Customs at Beats here. Factory. Where you putting Factory?
Factory, I'm going C.
Okay.
I'm going C.
I could agree with you there.
I think for what it is, once again, the one thing I'll always say is that Tarkov's map design is S tier. And so as, the pseudo Arena, the tiny, quick, fast-paced thing. Mm-hmm. Once again, though, I think what kind of gets in its way is that the tasks, man, mean that you're in there with your slick and your Alton and you're like some dude's just trying to plant his gunpowder, you know what I mean? Like, and you're like, I'm sorry, brother, but welcome to Tarkov. So
yeah. So you're gonna put that as C tier, which is interesting. I'll be honest with you. I think Factory is my least favorite map in Tarkov. I'll just go there.
Wow.
I'll say it. Yeah. Actually, hold on. No, we'll wait till it comes up for me to say my least favorite map.
Oh, yeah,
Let's move on to Interchange. Where are you putting Interchange?
Interchange is an easy D.
What? Mm-hmm. Below Factory, Jesse?
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Oh my God. Okay.
Here's the thing about Interchange. If we're talking potential, Interchange is an S.
I agree. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Current execution, Interchange is in D. Interchange would be, I've said this for years, Interchange would be an award-winning map. One of the greatest maps ever designed in a video game. Yeah. And I'm not even really exaggerating here. If the lighting was better, the fog didn't suck, Killa didn't suck, the spawns didn't suck, the extracts don't suck, the loot doesn't suck. You know what I mean? It's like they built the coolest map of all time, and then they just kept layering awful things on top of it.
No, 100%. I will say Interchange has kind of taken... I really like the new lighting. I will tell you right now that the old lighting was absolutely god-awful dog shit. Yeah. But the Interchange nowadays is somewhat reasonable for me. So I'm glad that you put it in D tier because I think you are correct. The potential for Interchange is very high.
It's unreal.
But it's just
the maneuverability on Interchange is that's what makes it fun because you can beat people that are much better than you mechanically as far as with aiming and flicks if you know the map better than they do. Yeah. It's just a map where you can make a flank and end up completely behind somebody and get a really easy one tap because you just put the time in and you know the map. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just it gets in its own way.
Yeah. Well, speaking about flanking and having good maneuverability, I feel like this next map, Labs, is one of those maps that you kind of need that. Where were you ranking Labs?
I'm putting Labs D as well.
Okay.
And this is personal preference. I think Labs, I think I rank Labs too low. Labs is going to be a D for me, but that's probably too low. It's a really well-made map. I just can't hang. This is the map where I feel like I truly am just not good enough to play. The two wipes, the wipe Labs came in the game and the wipe after that, I was a Labs main. I almost exclusively played Labs, but that was before the metas formed. It was before Labs was known for just the Omega Giga Sweat, every possible exploit. I don't mean like exploit. I mean like exploiting the movement system in Tarkov. You know, before inertia, it was the jiggle peeking. You know, it was the low recoil HKs and stuff like that. And it just broke away, and I just can't hang. So it's like it's funny because people are always like, Jesse, do you not play labs because of the cheaters? And it's like, bro, the past 50 times I've died on labs hasn't been a cheater. It's just people that are better than me. Like, I'm sure that the cheaters are there, but I die before I even run into them because the guys just smoke me. So.
It's funny you mention that because when I look at labs, I come from Counter-Strike, and one thing that I played warming up on Counter-Strike was Deathmatch. Now, Deathmatch is literally what reminds me of labs. It feels like a Counter-Strike deathmatch. I get killed, and a dude comes in, and he just has a massive ego, and I'm just like, dude.
Dude.
Hello? Like, why didn't you rotate this way and then push this way and then throw a nade down this hole that's the size of a pea? And I'm like, dude, what do you, like, I'm sorry, man. I'm on shoreline normally.
That's such a great point. That is such a great point. Yeah, because not only are you running into the people that are just like better than you, but like when you're on labs, chat is just like, bro, you didn't 360 no scope out of red through the glass and kill the dude. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I had one dude roasting me. He was legitimately so mad at me because I CMS'd a limb on labs. He was like, imagine taking the time to CMS a limb, just painkiller and push, you idiot. And I was like, bro, what are we talking about here? Like,
no, exactly, bro. I said for the longest time when labs was really popular a few wipes ago, I said that labs should have its own Twitch category because of how many people. Like the labs community is not. It doesn't even feel like the Tarkov community half the time. You know,
it's crazy.
Now this next map is what I wanted to bring up a little bit before. Where are you gonna put Lighthouse? I feel like you're gonna hurt my feelings here, Jesse.
I'm gonna put Lighthouse. Oh man, this is brutal. I'm trying to decide. What do we got left? Okay.
Lighthouse, reserves, shoreline, streets, and woods, and then arena.
I'm putting Lighthouse in D tier as well. I know we're stacking it with these.
No, that's
sorry,
okay.
But
that's okay. That is.
I think Lighthouse. I think Lighthouse. So like I've said, their map design from like lore and conceptually is always insane. What, you know, Interchange, a Lighthouse is kind of the opposite of Interchange, where like Interchange is a perfectly made map where they just like have a bunch of bad mechanics on top. Lighthouse is a cool looking map, but Lighthouse seems the worst designed in my perspective from a gameplay perspective.
Dude.
Like, it's tiny, it's tall, everybody wants to be at the same spot, which is just up at the north end of the map.
Yep.
It's like, it's the most broken as far as spawns in terms of like, if you want to wipe the rogues, if you have a quest to wipe the rogues and you spawn Southern Road, you just lose. You just can't, right? You know what I mean? It's like, there's nothing you can do.
And then player scabs spawning at the same time as you.
Oh my God,
don't even get me started on the map design itself. I said this, I actually tweeted this a few months ago. I said it's the worst design map in gaming history almost because it's built like a rectangle. If you zoom out, right, it's built like a rectangle. Every other map seems to be somewhat balanced. So I would put Lighthouse at F, but I'm glad that you put it below all the others, to be honest with you.
You know what's crazy, though? Like, if Lighthouse and Shoreline were one map, it would be amazing. Because, like, you know how they're right next to each other?
Yes, I never thought about that, bro.
Because then you have the resort as a POI, you have the Lighthouse as a POI. If you're trying to go do Lightkeeper, you have the, you know, the road camp as a POI. It you know, you lose the like how narrow Lighthouse is. Now it's a much wider map. They're right next to each other. If they just made those two one map, it would be so much more fun.
That is such a good point. Now, going to another map that I kind of hate. Now, I feel like, so before I ask you your opinion on Reserve, I should point out that Reserve, in my opinion, is one of those maps that it's decently designed, but what ruins it is the people that play it. I don't know about you.
F.
We are
F,
the
dude.
first F.
What's below F? What is below F, dude? That's where Reserve belongs. Take it off the list. No, I'm just kidding.
That's hilarious. Yeah, 100%.
Pre D2 Reserve was amazing.
Yes, dude, I love that map. It was my favorite.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about Reserve, right?
Okay.
Is that like the extracts suck and D2 sucks. I think what's unfortunate about Reserve is that like you spawn, everybody goes underground and then they stay underground, right? Like everybody goes underground because they want to fight the raiders. and then they end up fighting all the players, and then whoever wins just wants to extract, and that guy, whoever wins, gets extract camped at D2. Right? It's just like that's how this, and then Sankrat ends up walking out with all the loot. That's how it works. That's how reserve works. This is the way. But like, the underground of reserve is in my opinion, one of the coolestly designed areas
I agree with that.
All of Tarkov. The maneuverability similar to interchange is insane there. I say get rid of D2 so there's no farther down tunnel. You leave the underground as a way to traverse from one side of the map to the other, and you remove the rogues from under there, or the raiders. So it's like now the incentive to go down there is more of a traversal incentive, and not like all the best loot's down there, all the best PvP is down there, the extract is down there, everything is down there. You know what I mean?
I
like
agree with
it's
that.
just used as a traversal tool. And then like get rid of the alarm. There's no reason that should exist. And then just give me one place to extract that's normal, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to point out. I feel like if they were to, they're never, battles say they're not going to get rid of D2, man. No. But if they were to change reserve, they need to add an extraction that I don't have to either hit an annoying button for, or have a big ass train that just lets every player scav in the entire game know.
Yep.
I'm getting out.
Dude, 100%. And it's crazy because I feel like once they released reserve, they were like, all right, man, this is like, things are going to change. You're going to, all the maps from now on are going to have these like really hard extracts. Like it's not going to be, extracting isn't going to be free anymore. And we were like, okay. And then they released Lighthouse, and then they released Streets, which all have super easy extracts.
Yeah. No, 100%.
And so I'm like, why does reserve suck so bad?
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. By the way, just to point out real quick to audio viewers, you don't have to worry about this, but stream is lagging because Xfinity, but the recording is not affected. So I didn't want you to look at chat, Jesse, and be like, oh my God, is it me or is it you? Like it's still locally recorded, and it will be fine to just push through it. Now, next is my favorite map in the game. So I might be hurt by where you put this, Jesse. Beware. Shoreline.
No, I feel you. B.
Okay.
It's up there.
I can agree with you there.
It's up there.
It's up there.
I love Shoreline. In spite of what everybody says, Snoreline, it needs more POIs. I think those people are just sad because they can't hang. No, I'm just kidding. I think the resort is like super fun place to PvP. The audio there, this wipe is so bad.
Yeah.
The audio in the resort is like, it used to be bad, but it used to be bad and you could like learn it. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like
100%.
Back in the day, you just knew to always be below your enemy because they couldn't hear below them. You know what I mean? It's like you could learn that. But now it's just like super inconsistent. Sometimes you hear people, sometimes you don't. And that makes it like kind of lame.
Yeah.
Are you excited for Shoreline to see some love?
I am dude, you should have saw my face when I was watching the the Tarkov TV recap, man. I was watching it and they said, Nikita said Shoreline expansion, and I nearly jumped out of my seat. I'm not even like that. I'm so excited for that.
Me too, man. Me too.
It is going to be, it's such a good map because I don't know about you, like, I'm not considered the greatest player in Tarkov. What I love about Shoreline is that I can talk to chat on my way to get into a fight. And then when I'm on my way out of the fight, I can also talk to chat. So it's kind of like a perfect streaming map, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel you.
Very, very good. Now, I think I know where this is going. The next map is Streets. I don't even have to. I didn't even have to. I knew that for you, Jesse.
Dude. It's the best, man. It's the best map in the game. It's huge. It has everything I like about almost every single map. It has the maneuverability of interchange. It has the close quarters combat that I love from Shoreline Resort. It has the long angles I love from Woods, and it has amazing loot.
Yeah.
It's just like, it has, in my opinion, it's just the perfect map. It's so much fun. It's so big. It's so immersive. It's so just like, and it's a map that, like, once again, you get out of it what you put into it. You can learn the map in a few days and learn all the extracts and learn how to get everywhere you need to go. or you can learn that there's 6 different entrances and exits to the Lexos, that the corner building has 4 different ways in and out of it. You know, you can learn that from this balcony, you can jump onto this sign, which can get you, like, it's just like you get out of it what you put into it. And there's always more to put into it.
And I think you mentioned it earlier, is that the PvP for Streets is, so Shoreline, I feel like resort PvP is the best in the game. Streets almost it feels like resort PvP everywhere. When you say like everywhere, I think you mentioned that when I played last time with you and Bell. That's one thing that I realized, is that like Streets is such a good PvP map. Like Rivals was insane. A bunch of fun because of it. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
It's insane. Yeah, there's like because like, you know, and yeah, talking to you, since you're like a Shoreline main too, like the most fun resort fights aren't the ones that you get in and you just like peek a corner and you one tap a guy, right? The most fun resort fights are the ones where, like, you know that on the, you know, on the east side, on the second floor, there's a hole in the floor. So you can drop through that, make a play, come up behind that guy. And if he doesn't know that, you win because you were smarter, not just because you flicked on him. And that is the entire map of Streets of Tarkov. Every district almost of Tarkov, of Streets, has those, like, I know how do I get in and out of here? What's the flank? What's the maneuverability here? And so it's just like, no matter where you find yourself in a fight, you can just like out map knowledge the dude and win. And it just feels so good.
100%. Now moving on, we have Arena and Woods. So Woods, we're gonna S.
Oh yeah.
Jesse, what? Over Shoreline? No, man. Okay. Let me hear your reasoning.
Every other map, think about it. Think about Reserve. Yeah. Lighthouse, maybe not a lighthouse. Labs, interchange, factory, customs. Yeah. All of it. It all gets reduced down to the same PvP, which is peeking doors, jiggle peeking, right side peeks. It all boils down to like super quick, just close quarters combat.
Yeah.
Woods is just the ultimate mid to long range fight.
Okay.
Like Woods is a map where if somebody misses a shot on you, you can be like, oh, you messed up. I can get away. I can flank you. I can work all the way around the map and end up behind you and just like snipe you in the back of the head. Like, it's just like, it's truly a map where like on almost any other map, you're never getting into a fight where your fight with one person lasts 10 minutes. But I've been in fights. I've been in 25-minute fights with one guy.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I see what you're saying.
It's not necessarily that is better than the other maps, but it's the only map you can get this like different type of PvP on.
Yeah.
You can't get into that fight on Labs. You can't get into that fight on Factory. You know, it's just jiggle peek and then somebody wins.
Yeah, I can agree with you there.
Because it provides a completely different experience, it's just super underrated.
I think
that people don't get that experience more often.
I think the cool thing about Woods over the past few years actually is that the loot has gotten progressively better. I don't know if you realize, but the Woods loot is low-key slept on nowadays.
I've gotten more LEDXs on Woods than I have on Shoreline.
Yeah, I've heard that from people. Yeah. 100%.
It's insane. Tons of stuff that sells really well on the flea market. Tons of food, moonshines, LEDXs, tons of meds, ophthalmoscopes, and like when the PvP is good, it's so good. It's so juicing.
Yeah,
like going in with like a bolty and walking out with thermals, you know you just outplayed them, right?
Yes.
Like you know you just outplayed them, and that just feels so good.
Yeah, it's something that we're missing in Tarkov nowadays. Now, speaking about Tarkov, this isn't necessarily a Tarkov map, but I do want to, from what you have played, where are you going to put Arena for now? Now, it's going to be hard because there's not loot involved here. You know, there's not like loot or PvP. Well, there is PvP, but like, these maps are overall, right? Arena's going to be hard. Where would you put Arena right now?
I'd probably put Arena at B right now. And that might be kind of honeymoon phase, right?
Yeah.
Because like I played it and I'm super excited about it, but it felt like, you know, their guys really took it to heart that they were trying to create a different experience, a close quarters experience, a fast paced experience, but still maintain some of that like maneuverability and, you know, verticality.
I agree.
And so like tentatively, those maps got me really excited.
Yeah,
I was
100%. Well, this is a good list. This is a very good list. We have streets, woods, and at S tier for all the audio viewers. B tier, we have custom, shoreline, arena. C tier, we have factory. D tier, we have interchange, labs, lighthouse, and reserve. I might have to after the podcast today, I'm going to move this lighthouse down the F tier for Jesse. But other than that, it's a pretty good list. That is a very good list. I'm glad that you were able to give me your opinions here, because I know how controversial maps in Tarkov can be. So I appreciate you giving me those opinions. I'm going to go back to this scene. I'm going to then turn my camera back on. Bada bing, bada boom. They see me twice. Let me do this, do that. There we go. It's a bunch of things with podcasts. You know how it is, Jesse.
I do. Yes,
you know how it is.
Sir.
There's a lot that goes on. Like I said, we are having some stream issues for Xfinity. Xfinity is terrible. Just don't use them. It's not a shout out. Thumbs down.
The opposite of a shout out.
Yeah, we are flaming them live on podcast. Now, I did want to move past that. I should point out real quick, the podcast will not be affected by the internet issues. It is locally recorded, which means that we are all good. So just want to point that out. But moving on, content creation. We got some deep questions here, and then we're going to get into a little life and mental health one, which is all what the podcast is all about. You know how it is. You know, Coffee with Gina. We want to talk more about mental health and gaming and stuff. So I feel like in regards to Tarkov content, you're kind of a front runner for phenomenal YouTube videos. Did you originally start on YouTube in your content journey?
No, but it happened early. Okay. It happened really early. I don't know. It seems like the very prevalent advice now, and I would very much so agree with it. But back then, when we started, when I started like 5 years ago, it was still very much the culture of just grind.
Yep.
Streaming, 70 hours a day, just like never stop streaming, never stop streaming.
100%.
And I just I don't know. It was a combination of a few things. It was like, I wanted another way people could find me and then maybe come by my stream.
Yeah.
But it was also like, I was trying to 5-head it. It's like looking back, I definitely got lucky, but in addition to that luck, I did kind of try to 300 IQ it a little bit.
No, I don't
take all the credit for it, but I just remember, it's funny because Adam is like one of my best friends IRL, and he's the first person I told that I was streaming. He was like my first viewer. He's always, and I remember being like, dude, I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel, and I think I'm going to start making videos. And he was like, that's a bad idea, man. He's like, don't do that. He's like, just keep streaming. You know what I mean? It was so funny.
Yeah.
But I remember just being like, I think Tarkov is going to blow up. I think this game is going to blow up. And I want to, and I literally told them, I was like, I want to create as many YouTube videos that are beginner guides for this game before the game blows up, so that when the game blows up, I already have all the videos made.
Jeez,
and
that's 300 IQ. That's so crazy.
So before, when Tarkov had some of those wipes, the wipe before, so 2019 drops is like the moment in history, right? Where Tarkov exploded. The wipe before that, the pre-wipe, the end of the wipe before that. So we're talking, August, September, October of 2019, right before that happened. There were 1,200 people playing the game worldwide.
1,200?
It was it was there was nobody was playing Tarkov. It was late wipe. Dude, everybody was tired.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Dude, there were less than 3,000 people playing worldwide. It was crazy. There was nobody playing the game.
Yeah.
And with that little people playing the game, I was making beginner guides.
Yeah.
How to, key binds, how to do this, how to do that. Nobody was watching these videos, right? There were no new players. There were no players. But I was making these videos, and it just I had that in my brain that's what I wanted to do. And I just ended up getting super lucky. I had no idea what drops were. I didn't know that, drops were going to be a thing. They announced that wipe. That's the wipe that they added reserve. They announced drops. And 2 months later, there were 200,000 people playing the game.
That's crazy.
And my YouTube videos just started.
Yep.
Cruising.
300 IQ though. That's so fucking smart from you. That's awesome. Now, I would say making YouTube content is arguably the hardest. Like, YouTube is the hardest platform to grow on, in my opinion. But you also have to be consistent with it, right? Do you feel the same way? Do you feel like Tarkov, or not Tarkov, YouTube is a hard platform to grow on?
Yes and no. I think, so here's the thing. I think YouTube is the most consistent platform to grow on.
Yeah.
But so it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like there's like a knowledge barrier where once you attain this knowledge, YouTube is the easiest. But if you don't have this knowledge, YouTube is the hardest.
Yeah. Like, okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because if somebody stops by your stream, it's if they vibe with you, it's really easy to keep them there, to keep them engaged. So like, you're vibing, I'm vibing, we're having a good time. It's like, that's not hard to do. You don't have to, there's not a knowledge barrier. If you're streaming and somebody pops out of stream and they vibe with you, you vibe with them, you don't have to do anything. There's no like, you're not checking the analytics. They're just like, oh man, you're cool. I'm like, hell yeah, you're cool, man. Thanks for stopping by. And then we just vibe. But on YouTube, it is hard to figure out how to create good content.
Yeah, I agree.
Once you learn that, once you figure out whatever your personal flavor of good content that you enjoy making and that people enjoy watching is, now it's just keep doing it and try to be better, try to iterate on it. Try this thing. Did it work? Yes, no. Okay, boom, boom, boom. And the algorithm will take you there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's just such a initial barrier. You know, so many people like the videos I make the most right now are the highlight videos. And I almost hate that, because I think a lot of people see channels like mine and they go, if I want to grow on YouTube, I need to create highlight videos.
Yeah. If
someone was a brand new person, a brand new stream, and they're like, what type of YouTube content I should make, I would tell them that the last thing they should do is make highlight videos. The only reason why mine work is because I had an audience when I started making them. And I've made 700 of them. So now people just kind of like know what to expect. And they're like, yo, I know his highlight videos are going to be funny.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't start there. You know what I mean? Because like 100%. A highlight video assumes somebody knows you well enough to know that your highlights are going to be funny.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard. YouTube is definitely an interesting game. Yeah.
I 100% agree. And YouTube is something to where I can never grow on it, because one video will pop off and then the rest are just like, I'll make a video like, I feel like it's almost like the TikTok algorithm in a way. Like, I will post the same video. Like, let's say I have 2 channels and I'll post one video and I'll have the same exact title, hashtags, all of it. And then I'll have the same exact thing on another channel. The chance of it blowing up on one is high, and then the other is super low. So I don't know. I'm gonna definitely hit you up one day about YouTube, because it's hard for me, man. Now, speaking about YouTube, you're still a huge part of YouTube and the Tarkov content that's on there. The community is now a lot bigger now that when you first started. Who are some of your favorites nowadays to watch? Do you have any?
Oh, YouTubers.
Yeah, YouTubers.
Okay. So in the community, Tulu crushes it.
Yes.
Huge inspiration to me. And that's the thing is, right?
Yeah, I should mention there's a clip in your channel that he killed you one time through a bush in an M1A. I don't know if you remember that, but he clipped it.
Did he really? Was I like super toxic to him or something?
No, you were like,
okay.
Oh, it's Tulu, and then
I remember that. I remember that. Yes, dude. It was on Woods. Yes, it was, dude. I was like, freaking Lou.
Yeah, no,
because he's a Woods gamer too, so he knew what he was doing.
But yeah, Tulu.
So he's somebody that inspires me a lot too, right? Because there's like content that's fun, but like, you know, I started with beginner guides and educational content. That was like the bread and butter of my channel. Then I kind of got to a point where I was like, I feel like I've kind of made every beginner guide out there. I don't want to just remake them for money. I want to make content. So then I started focusing more on highlight videos. And then it was really guys like Tulu and a lot of Rust people as well that kind of inspired me into like more cinematic, narrative, story-driven, long-form content. I started seeing that in DayZ. I started seeing that. I've played less than 5 hours of DayZ and less than 5 hours of Rust. I've probably consumed 200 hours of YouTube content in both of those games.
Yeah.
Like 200 each. Because the creators in those spaces are just creating movies, like really compelling narratives that you just like, once you start watching, you're like, I have to know what happens here. And not many people are doing that in Tarkov. FairTX and Tulu and Swamp Fox are some of the only people that are doing it, and they're doing it well.
Yeah.
And so that really inspired me to go like, I want to challenge myself as a creator. I kind of got to that point where like YouTube was kind of falling off the wagon for me. I just wasn't paying a lot of attention to it. I was just vibing, streaming, having a ton of fun. And that was what got me really inspired to start being like, I want to challenge myself. I want to make new content. I want to make content that's fun. You know, that kind of harkens back to some of my past. I used to do videography work and stuff like that. And so like doing the kind of longer form, higher edited, higher quality stuff has kind of like rekindled my love for YouTube. And I've done a few of those videos as well. And it's been super fun.
Yeah. The YouTube content for Tarkov is either, I feel like story driven ones like you upload, and then also there's a lot of people that will do like straight up like stream highlights like myself. Like I wouldn't say that my stream highlights are the best by any means, but a lot of people I've seen do it nowadays. A lot of people do stream highlights and stuff. Yeah, which is really cool. It's pretty cool seeing the Tarkov community grow, because when I first started Tarkov, all I saw were guides, and then it slowly got into story-driven stuff, and now it's a lot more content creation stuff. Like, like Friendly Guy does some really good YouTube content, you know, like some of that stuff, right? So I'm glad you brought that up. Now I should point out, just I know you have the questions and stuff. I'm skipping some questions, so I apologize, but I just wanted to let you know. Do you have any content that you despise making, like whether it's tricky or time consuming? For me, it's TikTok. Is there any content for you that's like hate?
Yeah.
Or not hate, but despise kind of making. It's like, I got to do this.
Well, so nowadays, it would definitely be short form content. It would definitely be TikToks and shorts and stuff like that. I love having them. I love posting them, but I really quickly sent that to somebody else. Yeah. Like I had one of my mods started doing that for me.
Okay.
And I'm so glad, like, because like we've had some go viral and kind of pop, and it's great. And like, it starts to feel really good when someone's like, yo, your TikToks are funny. And it's like, oh, you came from TikTok. That's crazy,
yeah.
But yeah, it's just I think one of the hardest parts about being a content creator right now is that like every second of every day, somebody's telling you that you're so stupid if you're not doing this. If you're not making 3 shorts a day, if you're not making TikToks that are longer than a minute, if you're not doing YouTube videos, if you're not making your own thumbnails. And that's where I got with that, where I was like, I was doing the highlight videos, I was doing the bigger YouTube videos, I was streaming 6 days a week, and I'm like, I don't have time to freaking make TikToks. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, but every day people are like, you're so stupid if you're leaving this on the table, and it's like, oh.
Yes, 100%. So, I'm glad you brought that up, because my next question, do you have a team behind you, like editors, designers, all of that? Or I assume you aren't a one-man team. You do some great content, so I assume that you have a lot of people that help out.
These days, yeah, I definitely do. And like, I've bounced around quite a bit with a bunch of people. Like my younger brother is actually the one that edits all my highlight videos.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, so he was big into the video world. He went to he went to Full Snail, and so like, he was like, dude, I'd love to help you. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So he edits all my highlight videos. I've worked with a few people like Sealable Bag. He's one of my homies who's done a lot of thumbnails for me. Frankie, who worked with Pestily in the past, has done some of my longer form videos. Like I have 2 kind of like hour and a half long videos, the long form content that we did. He edited those for me.
That's awesome.
My mod Reverse Roll has done all my TikToks and shorts and stuff like that. So yeah, it definitely got to a point where it was like, it's too much for just me to do, and I want to do it. So we gotta get a team.
Gotta get it done somehow. Shout out to all the boys that helped
all
Jesse.
The boys,
Shout him out. Speaking about another boy that you create some phenomenal content with, he's not a boy, he's a man. That's Veritas. You guys do some great content, which is, I'm beyond blessed to have you on the show today. But you also have your own phenomenal podcast called Pogcast with Veritas. Tell us a bit about it. I kind of want to give you a little spiel that you can kind of give for your own podcast over there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just me and Veritas talking about content, a lot about Tarkov. It ends up, the way I describe it these days is it's pretty much like 2 old men sitting on their front porch screaming at the kids as they walk by. Like that's what it feels like when we talk about Tarkov now. But yeah, man, no, it was like I, once again, in my infinite wisdom was like, I should do more types of content. And I was like, let's just do more, which, it's kind of bit me in the butt now because I don't have any time to do anything. But I was like, dude, I just want to make a podcast. Like, I think it'd be cool. And I remember asking Veritas if he would be my first guest. And he was like, well, I was thinking about making a podcast. And you're thinking about making a podcast. He's like, what if we made a podcast together?
That's
and I was
so
like,
sick.
That sounds great. And so... Dude, I remember it's changed so much. I remember at first we were going to try and keep our episodes to 30 minutes. We had all these planned segments that we were going to do. And we pretty quickly just kind of fell into our rhythm of me and him just talk about anything. It was like 100% Tarkov for the first 100 episodes. But now it's just anything. We spend tons of time talking about new games that are coming out, about content, about content he's making, gaming news. And still it's probably 50% of the cast is about Tarkov, and then the other 50% is about just kind of whatever's going on in the gaming world. But yeah.
That's really cool because with podcasts, I don't know if it's something that you noticed as well. One thing I love about them is that I don't have to focus on necessarily being good at what's in front of me. It's a lot of like you said, you have a topic, you kind of spitball some ideas and, talk about this topic for a little bit. It's a lot of preparing and backhand stuff that usually, in my opinion, performs the best. Do you feel the same without podcasting?
For sure. Yeah, I agree. It's so much more just there's not a meta you're chasing. It's I just want to hang out. You know what I mean? I just want to hang out, and that feels good. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And I'm sure you get asked this a lot. Kind of moving back towards the YouTube conversation. Anyone that might want to start YouTube, is there any specific advice that you give nowadays? I know a lot of people will keep it short with, be consistent, upload this video, upload that. What's some of the tips that you would give somebody trying to start YouTube nowadays?
Failing is the best possible outcome.
Oh.
Yeah. If you make a video and you put out a video and it gets 10 million views, that's what everybody wants, right?
Yep.
You probably don't understand why. So how are you going to recreate that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You make a video, it pops off, you make your next video and it bombs. And then what's that? That's going to be brutal. In my opinion, it's better the secret sauce of YouTube is can you just spend some time trying to figure out why this video didn't do good? That's all you have to do.
Yep.
That will snowball. You put out a video, why doesn't it do good? Are people not clicking on it? So they don't even get to decide if the content is good. Or are they clicking on it and then leaving really early? So maybe the thumbnail and title are good, but the content of the video wasn't good. Let me try a video that's funny. Let me try a video that's serious. Let me try a long video. Let me try a short video. Let me try a story-driven video. Let me try a video with weird voices, silly voices that I do. Literally, that is the secret sauce. It is just fail and give yourself any amount of time to just consider why that may have happened and try something new. Iteration is everything, because then when you make a video that gets 100,000 views, you're going to be like, I knew it. I called that. I thought that this was why, and it was. I tried this thing and it worked, and that feels better, and it's more repeatable then. You're equipped with knowledge that's going to get you there. So what I told myself was that I was not going to decide that any one of my videos succeeded or failed until I had made 100 videos.
That's such a cool outlook.
I wasn't allowed to even determine that my first video was a success or failure until I'd made 100 videos.
That's such a good...
And I don't know if I stuck to that to a T, but it was how I had to think about YouTube.
Okay.
Was that I can't determine this until I've given myself enough time to try something, learn from it, try something, learn from it, try something, learn from it, try something, learn from it. And then the reason I didn't have to post that 100th video and then go back is because by the time I got to 100, my videos were doing well.
That's such a cool...
It's we just quit too early in a lot of things. You know what I mean? So I set that... I did the same thing when I started streaming. This is big. Not everybody could do this. But when I started streaming, I said, I'm not going to determine if this was a success or a failure for 3 years. And
you blew
3
up
years
before
later,
them 3
I
years.
was a Twitch partner, and I was full time. I was full time. So I never even had to go back and decide.
Yeah, that's such a cool way to look at it.
It allowed me the consistency, and it just took the pressure off of if each individual video was a success or a failure. Of course, when I would post a video and it would bomb, it would still hurt, but I just wasn't allowed to like determine if the entire thing was succeeding or failing. Until I'd given myself enough time to try new things.
That's such a good way to look at it. And it's perfect to move on to a certain subject that we like to call the throwback section. Now, we are going to get into some more deep questions a little later, but I am going to go back to streaming on Discord. I'm going to take the camera away, start the stream. You know how I said it like 8 times already. We're showing a bunch of different screens here. I'm going to pull up a bunch of links here. And so I want to bring up a few tweets, and then I also want to bring up some old clips. We have some not only funny clips, but we have some old clips from you that I find them pretty fucking funny. So we're gonna go to the first thing. I don't know. Can you see this? I went back and found your first tweet. Now, this was November 6, 2011. Your first tweet was satisfied, but now stuffed. Eat just enough, not until you can't move. Hashtag gluttony.
That's a typo. It should be, but not stuffed. Oh, dude.
Wow. So I found this. This was actually before your content creation journey, which let me see if I can show you real quick. Hold on. Actually, I don't think I have the link. Oh, that's sad. But there is actually another. Yeah, this is way before. And then you took like a 4-year break from Twitter. Now, let me pull this up for stream. Here we go. So this is your first ever tweet, November 6, 2011. If you want to know how old this tweet is, this is going to make you feel really old, Mr. Jesse. At the time of this recording, I was 10 years old. I'm 21, almost 22 now. So this tweet was actually made when I was 10 years old, and I was in what grade? First grade.
Oh my god, dude.
I found your first ever tweet just for you, Jesse. I had to go back in a bit.
A bit. That is unreal. I have no idea. That's crazy. I literally didn't think I tweeted that long ago. Because, dude, 2011, man. Yep. It's funny that you said I took a 4-year break from Twitter. I used to hate Twitter. I used to be like, Twitter's so lame. Dude, that is funny. I have literally, November 6th. I don't know what the hell I was doing.
I actually did find the other one. This is when you tweeted about content. You said first real tweet in like 4 years. Well, I'm live if you want to come by and say, hey, this is November 27, 2018.
Oh my God.
I found the best of both.
7 years later, almost to the day.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious. Now, you did tweet a little bit in 2014. Some of the tweets I couldn't really find. They were just a bunch of like 1-word or 2-word tweets that wouldn't have provided any context.
I'm sure.
But I wanted to bring this up. This was your first real tweet in your content creation journey. So your first real tweet in 4 years. That's crazy. November 27, 2018. I was 17 at the time, by the way. I was still in high school. That's
crazy.
I was a junior in high school. So that's crazy going back. And now one more tweet that's kind of a throwback. You actually decided to quote tweet a good friend of mine that was on the podcast before. It was Markstrom. Now I wanted to talk about a few of these. You talked about the first 5 jobs you've had. One of them is back of house specialist at Apple, which you talked about earlier in the podcast. President of a small nonprofit, guitarist in a traveling band, which we have a question about coming up here soon. Server at Rainforest Cafe at Disney. Rainforest Cafe has some good coffee, I've heard. Is that true?
I don't think I ever had the coffee while I was there. I worked there for like 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. So speaking now about 3 times, Master Chicken Breader at Chick-fil-A, 3 actually. What? How did you get 3 different?
I worked at 3 different Chick-fil-A's, and I worked at one of those Chick-fil-A's twice. So almost like,
Okay.
There were many jobs that I had that I like quit and then came back to. Yeah. Like I worked at Chick-fil-A, and then I worked at this pizza pizza place called the Pizza Company. And then I went and I worked for Apple, and then I quit Apple because when we started doing the nonprofit stuff, but then I needed to get another part-time job. So I went back to Chick-fil-A, and then I went from that Chick-fil-A and I just transferred to another Chick-fil-A. And then I quit that Chick-fil-A because I got a job at Apple again. I went back to Apple, and then I quit that job and I went back to the Pizza Company. So I did. It was just like,
you were all over the place.
Random.
That's crazy, but that's really cool. It kind of goes back in your history a little bit. It's crazy because I wouldn't be able to put 5 jobs I've had before streaming here. 2019, I didn't even have a job, so I wouldn't have been able to quote treat you there. Now, speaking about jobs, we can go to some Twitch clips. Now, we have 2 Twitch clips here today that we're going to show chat.
Oh, man.
One of these is you. Okay, I need to zoom this in. You killed a guy with joysticks, Jesse.
Yeah.
This was 2 years ago. I'm going to roll the clip for you. I'm actually going to, real quick, I'm going to turn off this lo-fi so we can turn on the music a little bit. There we go. There we go. You killed somebody with joysticks. Now, I want to watch this back.
He's going back to the right. He's going back to the right. Yep.
It looks so hard to do.
So much. It was so painful.
Dude, I love that so much. Dude, my favorite part, I don't know if you noticed this.
PMC, it's a PMC.
You were so happy. So when you shot this guy, let me go back. After you killed this guy, right?
Oh, yep.
You seem so happy with your hands. Like, watch how fast you start.
Oh, yeah. I'm like twitching my hands.
You're like, yes, sir. That shit's so awesome.
Dude.
I can't believe you killed.
PMC,
Was this a sub goal or something?
Dude, no, it was just a YouTube video idea. Dude, speaking of iterating and trying new things, this video bombed, by the way. It did terrible. But, yeah, dude, I mean, I don't know. It was just like an idea I had. I bought those joysticks to play Star Citizen, to fly around in my spaceships. And I was playing with Sealable Bag, who I play with all the time. And we play Star Citizen a lot too. And I was like, dude, I'm thinking about playing Tarkov with the joysticks. And he was like, let's do it. So I spent like 2 weeks mapping out all of the binds. To these joysticks, and we went woods and we tried sniping, and we hit a few nasty snipes.
Cool.
It was crazy because like the lag, like you've never experienced so much lag between what your brain is telling you to do and your hands being able to execute it. Like that clip is painful to watch because the dude is standing still and I'm going like, I'm like, how do I move? Like, you just forget how to...
You start tensing up here because he's not going to stay still forever. It's a paid actor here, Jesse, is what it is. Dude. He stood still. I'm so... That is such a cool kill because you adjusted while he was like...
Yep. Yeah. I was trying to go up and then over.
You can see it. If you...
I'm so focused.
You
my
can
God.
See the up and then over. That's
Dude,
so funny. That is so cool.
The whole thing, it was just so painful not being able to do what your brain is telling you to do. But it was so
chat
fun.
Was pissed off watching a little bit of that. That is hilarious.
So funny.
Now going to another clip. This is it was. I'll be honest with you, Jesse. It was very hard to find some clips that weren't Bell yelling at you. So I found some of these here. I found this. This was 2 years ago. And it was, I assume this is the first wipe when VoIP came out. Now, I do want to point out the difference in your stream and how it looks now is so awesome. Like, the progress and stuff is so cool to see.
Yeah.
But I'm going to turn this clip up so you can hear this guy. I thought this was hilarious.
Oh, that's PMC.
Chill, dude. Chill.
I kind of...
Didn't chill.
I don't know why.
I don't know who you were playing with. That guy deserves some sort of award.
I don't know who I was playing with either.
Bro,
oh my God,
I love
dude.
that you...
Didn't chill.
He didn't chill, dude.
Didn't chill.
I had to pull that up. That is so funny. He was screaming for his life. This is the first wipe, by the way, I think. 2 years ago is around when VoIP came out. I thought it was hilarious. The progress of the stream, too, like... No offense, it was grainy back then, but now your stream looks great. Your stream looks great, and it's really cool to see the progress. But that is the throwback section. I'm glad that you were able to go through the 10 years ago tweet. That is crazy.
That is unreal. That is the 2011 tweet. That's funny.
That is really cool. I'm gonna stop streaming that, turn my camera back on. Let me get back to some of the questions here. But that's really cool. We are actually going to take a deep dive. Let me turn that music down a little bit and then put Jesse up there. We are good to go. And then right there. All right. Going back to the questions, like I said, we are going to go to a kind of some of the deep questions of the podcast. Now, I ask you some deep questions. Actually, before we go to that, sorry about that. I did want to ask something in regards to the throwback question. Starting your content journey, what's one thing you wish you knew sooner? It's kind of a deep question to get into some of the deeper questions.
Man, what's something I wish I knew sooner? I don't know. I mean, probably stream less than you think you need to, and work on the other things. Work on YouTube, work on shorts. Like, I wish I had gotten into the shorts earlier. You know what I mean? Like, because that, short form content just obviously kind of went crazy. And a lot of times you see that whenever there's a new type of content, there's like a really big wave that comes and then that wave dies down. And so it's not bad to like hop on short form now, but it's like I kind of missed the tidal wave that happened when shorts first happened or when TikTok was first coming around. But yeah, just like, it seems really counterintuitive, but you have to determine how seriously you want to take content creation and streaming. And like I said from the very beginning, streaming is my favorite thing to do. It's my favorite thing to do. I just want to stream and vibe with chat, but I also am really addicted to the grind. I want to grow. I want to be a bigger streamer. I want to I love the thing. And to play that game, you have to not stream because the discoverability is so bad. So I think I would have made the YouTube channel earlier. I would have done shorts earlier. I would have just like done all that non-streaming stuff earlier. Even if you have to sacrifice some of the time you have to stream, it'll be worth it if you have 10 times the amount of people looking for your stream.
That's awesome that you mentioned that, because that's exactly what Pestilly said, is that we didn't argue, but we were talking about it last podcast. Like, if you have 8 hours to dedicate a day towards content creation and you want to try and make it your job, we said that streaming should be half of it. Like half of those hours, right? The rest of it, learn to edit, learn to design stuff, learn to get your content out there, upload on all different platforms. So I'm really glad you brought that up. Now we're going to go into, like I said, the deeper questions, the life and mental health section, which is what the podcast is all about. Considering we just saw some of the jobs that you actually started with in that throwback section, I have to ask, being in a band was a big help for Ash to become a creator. So I feel like I want to say Ash, I don't know if he had stage fright beforehand, but streaming is, you almost have to expose yourself to, you know, a bunch of people. Did that help you, like being a guitarist in a band? Did that help you in regards to content creation?
You know what's funny? Like, absolutely. But I've never thought about that before.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought about that way of like the exposure of putting myself out there, or maybe something I created out there, or literally, you know, being in front of other people that I don't know, playing and doing my thing. Like, I had never really considered. I've thought a lot about how like being in the band, being in the audio world has helped me just like understand audio a lot. So like I have, like nice mics laying around or stuff, or like I understand how to like EQ my mic to make it sound good. So I've always said that like that stuff helps me in my streaming career. But like, that's actually really funny. I'd never considered that, but like overwhelmingly, I would say the answer to that question is yes. Like,
Ash said the exact same thing. Yeah.
Something that I've created or myself to people I don't know absolutely helped me with streaming and sitting down and having somebody new pop in and be like, okay, well, now I got to entertain them. You know what I mean? I got to do something. 100%.
So. I feel like one thing it's talked about in streaming a lot, but is like social interaction, right? Like, it helped me in high school. I was not the greatest, like like I played video games. I was that nerd, you know? But with streaming, it's really helped me come out of my shell socially, you know? So it's really cool to see that the band kind of did that for you, and being a guitarist and stuff. That's really, really cool. I had to bring it up because I thought it would be a good question.
That's it, dude. I had literally never thought about that. Like, that really is a good question. Yeah.
But when I think of you, Jesse, you're almost always positive, unless it's with Velian, but you're almost always positive. Even when Tarkov is taking you down a dark road, it takes us all down. You remain optimistic. Did that happen overnight, or is that kind of like throughout the years of your life you just learned it?
I mean, I feel like I've always been pretty chill, glass half full kind of person. Like my wife always makes fun of me because she's just like, you're just like the most chill. Like I don't care. Like where you want to go, I don't care. Like I'm down for whatever.
Nonchalant, yeah.
It's just always how I've been. Okay. But I will say that like in addition to that, there absolutely is some intentionality there. I was talking with somebody about this the other day, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like I am super serious about what I do, and super serious about content creation, and and so for me, it's like, what am I doing? Like, I'm playing video games? No, not really. What I'm doing is trying to entertain people.
Yeah.
I'm trying to have a place where they can chill, where they can leave it on in the background, where they can chat, where they can feel engaged, like whatever they want to do. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that by playing video games. And that's a different way to look at it. You know what I mean? Because if you're just playing video games, then I'm going to start yelling and screaming and yelling some gamer words and doing all this stuff because it's like, this game's pissing me off.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm doing.
That's so cool to look at it that way.
So is when I get frustrated or when I get pissed off or when some chatter is trolling me, it's like, is this serving the job that I'm trying to do? And if you're looking at it as my job is just play video games, then why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
But if my job is to entertain people and create a fun experience, and that's not to say there are people and some people that I know and are really good friends with who they might not see it, but their job is to almost be mad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's lots of content, and even outside of Tarkov, there's lots of people who just Dr. Disrespect is a great example, right?
Yeah.
His entertainment comes from his anger and frustration and, back in my day and this, that, and the other. And it's and so I'm not even saying that this is definitely something where the YouTube advice I would give to anybody, but this isn't advice for everybody because not everybody has the personality to just be positive all the time. Some people, that positivity would have to be really manufactured and it would come off really fake. And to that person, I would say, well, you find out what your job is. My job is to be entertaining and chill. What's your job? And then how do you use video games to get your job done? And so if your job is different, if you're, if it's more dramatic or more yelling or more screaming or whatever, that's totally fine. As long as it's, not hurting others or toxic, it's fine. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, we see a lot of that nowadays. I'm not even going to front with you. I've always encouraged people that I think what's cool about content creation is that there's so many different ways that you can express yourself. Whether even if you're not necessarily the most positive person, there's ways that you can express yourself to have really good content. Like you mentioned Doc, right? That's a perfect example. His anger and his content towards the game is what is hilarious to so many people. Now, it shouldn't go into hurting other creators and hurting other people. And that's where I've always told people, that's the limit. At the end of the day, you need to know that you're a good person. You can't go to bed at night knowing that you're a dickhead to others. And that's all your content is. Because at the end of the day, you're going to realize 10 years down the line that, I wasted so much time being negative in scenarios that I shouldn't have been negative. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. Now, speaking about kind of the question before about patience and stuff in regards to your streaming and stuff. You're one of many fathers to now be on the podcast. I always love asking fathers how becoming a father has changed you as a person, as a creator. How has it changed you, Jesse?
I mean, wholly and completely.
Yeah.
I started streaming after we had our first, after we had our oldest son. He was an infant at the time. I mean, it's fascinating. It's kind of my superpower in terms of perspective. You know what I mean? I know it's dude, we love, so Tarkov is as an example, right? Because we're in Tarkov. it's easy to fall down the rabbit hole, man. Like
really
I'm
is.
looking at Twitter and I'm like super frustrated. Like, what are these people doing? This is so stupid. Everyone's blowing this out of proportion, and I want to respond to everybody, and I want to do this, and I get sucked into it, and I'm like, dude, I can't believe they think that about the game. That's not what it is, or like this. I can't believe this, that. And then I opened the door to my office, and my son runs up to me, and he colored this thing, and he cut it out, and he was like, I made this for you. And it's my superpower to be like, what the hell was I just frustrated about? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Like, the fact that I was like so worked up about this thing, and right on the other side of my door is my kid making me something or doing something. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's definitely not to say that being passionate about what you do is a bad thing at all. I am very passionate about Tarkov. I've, written 10-page scripts that are just my opinion on the weight system. And I make a video about that, right? Like, somebody would look at that and be like, Jesus Christ, dude, like, calm down. So I'm not saying it's bad. What I'm saying is when I think the people that get in trouble, my guess is that they very justifiably and in an okay way fall down the rabbit hole, but there's nothing in their life that pulls them out of it and gives them
100% agree.
And so it's really just the balance. Every time I'm in here, every time I'm in this office, man, I'm super serious about it. I'm super serious about Tarkov. I'm super serious about content creation. I'm super serious about what I'm doing here. But I need that. Yeah. And so that's like my kids are my superpower of just like, just put the phone down. Yeah, it's just like grounding yourself almost. There's a lot of people nowadays that struggle with that. 100%, like getting away from the toxic world around them. So many people need some sort of grounding. They need to be grounded, right? And I think very similar to kind of not necessarily very similar to becoming a father, but a lot of people that experience, surrounding themselves with toxic things is getting a pet or something, like becoming like a lot of people have told me that being a pet owner is awesome because those days that they feel like they don't want to do something, I'm sure as a father, right, you're motivated those days that you don't want to get up and start streaming, but you realize that somebody almost depends on you, right? They literally do depend on you, so it motivates you, right? It motivates you to become a better creator, a better person, all of it. I'm so lazy. Intrinsically, like if I'm by myself, you know what I mean, my wife takes the kids over for the weekend, that motivation, you know what I mean, that reminder is gone, and I'll do nothing. Like, you know what I mean, I've always been like in school, I was just like always that way, but it completely changes your life. Like, you know what I mean, like you have to, and then you find ways to enjoy doing it, and it's like there's tremendous motivation, tremendous desire to do what you're doing and to do it right and to do it well when there's people that depend on you for it.
You hit it perfect. That's exactly why I ask a question like that, is because it's exactly what I was trying to like kind of get at, right? Like becoming a father is so big to so many. Another one of your friends, Vel, he told me the exact same thing that you just mentioned. It was one of the best things that has ever happened to him. So I had to ask. But one thing that many don't talk about in the content field is how lonely it can be. Do you experience that loneliness, or does it help to have such a supportive family?
It definitely helps. It definitely helps, like, that my wife, she is amazing. Like, I will be like deep in the weeds of talking about like the intricacies of why I think, the friggin' aim punch sucks in Tarkov, and she'll listen, you know what I mean? And then like, I'm like, I know that this is like so stupid, you know what I mean? And she's like, no, like it's not, it's a part of something that's important to you, and it's whatever. And so like my wife has been a saint in like letting me vent that. And once again, that's another thing. I feel like a lot of the people that end up in a place where I would say maybe they've crossed the line are because they don't have a way to ground themselves, like you said, and they don't have a place to like vent. You know what I mean? And so like, so, I mean, I definitely agree with what you said about like the loneliness. Cause when you think about it, it's like, we're always around people, but we're always alone. Yeah. We're just chilling in our office.
It's not physical interaction that we get.
It's not physical interaction. And so and you know, I've talked with so many creators that feel the same about like everybody wants to do more like collaboration with other content creators, but everybody's so busy and everybody's so scared that the other people are busy or that they don't want to do it.
Yes.
And so we all kind of end up isolating ourselves from each other, and then that just is frustrating. And you know, then some people start to see each other more as competition than as friends, and it's like it's hard. So that loneliness can absolutely creep up really quickly.
Yeah, and it's so cool that you mentioned that, because I'll be honest, I started this podcast, you know, not only do I want to share the stories of, you know, great creators like yourself, Jesse, but one thing that I realized that I was really bad at, it was reaching out to people. I needed something to push me out of that comfort zone that I was in of not reaching out. And this podcast has been perfect. You would, dude, a year ago, you would have not seen me DMing you to be on the podcast. I'm telling you right now, like, the times that I played with you, Jesse, it's an great example. I've always looked up to you, right? The only times that we have played is when Vel has mentioned, like, hey, you want to hop in? And then Jesse's, you okay with Jesse coming? I'm like, of course, you know? So, yeah, it's allowed me to get out of my comfort zone. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
For sure.
Before this podcast, though, you wanted to take time. I mentioned this earlier. You wanted to take time to spend with family and chill, which I should point out is incredibly awesome for you to take the time to do. How do you explain content creation to family? How do you explain it? Like Thanksgiving? Like, how do you explain it to people?
Dude. So, like, it's funny. I didn't really tell my parents or my wife's parents that I was doing it until I was full time. like I'm very I'm like, I can be pretty shy and like I'm very what's the word? I don't know. It's not closed off. I'm very just like private. Private is the word.
Okay.
Like I could be texting my brother like, you smell like farts. Like just something stupid. But I'm like, don't look at my phone. Like, I'm just like so private. It's like, I don't have anything to hide, but I've always been like, I don't want to tell anybody that I'm doing anything. I don't want to, like, I'm just like and so like, I told one friend that I was streaming. I didn't tell anybody else for forever. I wouldn't start streaming until my wife went upstairs. She wasn't allowed in the room. She wasn't allowed. I didn't have an office. She wasn't allowed in the downstairs of our apartment if I was streaming. Like, I was just so, I don't know, private about it, because I just
confined might be the word.
And I just like, I cared so much about what people thought of me and stuff like that, and so, which can be a blessing and a curse. But
that's so funny.
And so yeah, it was like, man, I was already full time, and I had been doing it for like a few months, and I was like, okay, mom, dad, I'm doing this. And like, they were super chill. They were super excited. I mean, like, my mom was like, I don't get it. She was like, how do you make money? I was like, just trust me, mom. She was like, okay, I'm just glad you're happy. You know what I mean? And
that's
like,
so awesome.
Having that conversation with my wife's parents when we had like a kid to be like, listen, okay, I am taking care of your daughter. I am taking care of your grandbaby. I am taking care of our family. I just happen to be doing it playing video games. So they were like, okay, as long as you're having fun, I guess. And so, yeah.
That's the trust that they have to have in you for that, to do that. That's crazy. You seem like they have a very supportive family. Which, speaking about, one person I haven't heard much about, when I hang in your stream, you know, occasionally, I haven't heard much about your wife. Now, I don't let me, don't answer anything you don't want to, but I wanted to ask, how does she see your job, and what has she done to support you throughout the years?
Dude, literally everything. Literally everything.
That's
yeah,
so
I mean,
awesome.
she loves it. Yeah, she loves it. It's funny, she's not a gamer at all.
What?
At all. She's, I mean, like,
Have
she
you
probably
tried?
has some. Yeah, she played a scav raid once. Chat got her on during the subathon. She played a scav raid.
That's awesome.
And I was playing with Vel at the time.
Oh, God.
And so Vel actually convinced her on the scav raid to kill another scav. He tanked my scav karma because he knew she wouldn't know what to do. Dude, it was so funny.
That is hilarious.
But she's not a gamer at all. So even to her at first, it was like, she was super happy that I had a hobby that I enjoyed, right? She was like, that's awesome. I'm glad you have a hobby that you enjoy. And then once, like, you know, things started happening, and I was like, babe, I'm starting to make a little money. And she was like, that's great. We're poor as hell. We need money. That's awesome. And then I was like, man, I remember, well, it was funny because, like, I remember having the conversation. I was like, babe, I think if things keep going the way they're going, I should be able to go full time in the next like 2 or 3 years. And she's like, that's awesome. 2 weeks later, we find out she's pregnant. 2 weeks later, I lost my job due to COVID.
Dude.
I worked at a super small company. COVID hit. We lost all our customers. My boss was like, dude, I'm so sorry, but like, I just don't have any money to pay you. And I was like, I get it. That's totally fine. Wow. So a few weeks after I told my wife that I maybe wanted to go full time in the next 2 years, and we found out she was pregnant. I was like, well, we're going full time. Like, I don't have any other choice. You know what I mean? Let's rip it. And so she has been tremendously supportive. I mean, it's been so like, awesome. I'm definitely not that guy that's like, I work so much. My life is so hard, right? Like at the end of the day, I do get to entertain people. I do get to play video games. But if we're talking about hours spent working, I spend probably 70 to 80 hours a week working, which is a lot more than, when I was a full-time at Apple or whatever. And so like, she stays at home. She raises our 2 kids. She takes care of them. And she has supported me in a tremendous amount of ways, because this is such not a 9 to 5, right? When a wipe happens, I'm like, baby, I'm going to be streaming 18 hours a day for 3 days. And she's like, good. She's like, do it. Like, I understand. I understand how important this time is. You know what I mean? I understand how important this is for your growth. So like,
so huge.
Or I do a subathon, and it's like, I'm going to be in my office for a week, babe. And she's like, okay. Like, I mean, we talk about it and it's hard, and she has to pick up a lot of the slack, but she has just done, I mean, literally everything for me to make this possible.
Shout out Jesse's wife. That's so awesome. Now, I speaking about being a father and a husband and stuff, what would you say as a creator and as a father and as a husband, what is one thing you struggled with in your personal life that you don't mind sharing, of course, that you actively work on / worked on? Is there anything that's over the years has been a struggle for you?
I mean, man, I think there's, like we said, becoming a father and a husband really helped me with like motivation to do stuff. Like I said, I was tremendously I'm naturally very tremendously lazy and procrastinator. And so I think becoming a husband and a father has helped me tremendously with that. Content creation has helped me a lot with, I kind of mentioned earlier, so much of my life I care a lot about what people think of me, what their perception is of me.
Yes.
It's like, it's funny. I used to that's what would get me the most frustrated. It wasn't if you thought I did a thing, but if you just thought of me a certain way, or you thought I could do something, it would just like get me, I don't know. So I think content creation has helped me a lot in that, because like, man, you just can't control what people think of you, right? you know what I mean? Like, holy Christ, people are going to come in and they're coming with their own baggage and they're coming with their own thing, and they're going to assume this thing. And like, it's an easy way to get me riled up. And it's like, that's kind of flex that muscle a ton to just be like, dude, you like, all you have to care about is like you. Do you know that your heart's in the right place? Do you know that your intention's in the right place? And something that content creation most of the time has the opposite effect on people. But I think if you let it can be a really good thing. Being wrong about something publicly is really good. If you think about it as like exercising to get strong, like admitting you were wrong publicly to people is like the squat. It's like the most foundational workout. It's the most humbling thing to, be ranting and raving about this thing. Like, yeah, Tarkov, this, that. And then somebody's like, you just have that completely wrong. Here's the evidence I have. And I'm like, so many people in today's world, just like we double down, we triple down, even when we know we're wrong, because the fear of being wrong is so crippling.
Accountability. You have to be accountable in today's world. 100%.
But having that and publicly being in front of 80 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, and to be like, I'm sorry I messed up, or like I overstepped. You were trolling me and I took that too far and I shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? That's the worst, is when like somebody comes in and they're in the wrong, and so because they're in the wrong, I feel like I am justified to do anything, and then you have to be like, God damn it, like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, unban the guy. And it's like, that is so healthy for you as a person.
I
you know what I
agree.
mean? Like,
100%.
so that's been something that's been like a value that has come out of doing this. Yeah.
100%. I fully agree. And now, speaking about not necessarily people hating on you, but I kind of want to talk about Vel. Over the years, you've seemed to have made some best friends within the same content field. One of them is Velian. You know, we know how loud he can be. What does his and so many others' friendships mean to you, and does it expand past content creation?
Absolutely. I've made a few friends. Yeah, Seal Bag is one of them that like we got to meet at TwitchCon. Vel was there too.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, man, so much like Vel and Seal are two of the big ones for sure. We're like, yeah, completely just met doing gaming. I remember the first time I played. I played with Seal. He came in some of those really early raids from like Veritas, like very early raids. I had like 3 viewers. You know, Veritas raids me with 100 viewers, and
That's so
Seal
awesome.
stuck around, and we talk all the time about content creation, about videos, about Star Citizen, about his job, about, I mean, just like we talk all the time.
That's so awesome.
And then Vel's another one where he just like, I was playing with Geeks a lot back in the day, and Geeks was like, hey, I'm playing with Vel today. Do you want to train? I was like, yeah, sure. And we just hit it off, man. Our energies just like matched each other because I'm a little bit more chill, and he's just a super high energy, and the interaction there and like the moments that get created from that, and like he brought me out of my shell a lot with streaming, and like just being like had that permission to just like be funny and goofy and just like lean into the moment. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, Vel taught me about like intentionally or unintentionally about content creation and how you can like lean into a moment, because like live is such an interesting thing, to be live in front of people, for the people that are watching to know this isn't a pre-recorded thing. And Vel really excels there, where like he can take a moment that might be mediumly funny and make it tremendously funny. You know what I mean?
I agree.
That his personality elevates something from a B tier to an S tier moment. And he taught me a lot about that, about not like manufacturing it because it's so genuine with Vel, but just how you can take an experience and then add your personality to it. And those two things can be greater than the sum of the parts. You know what I mean? And like, so yeah, Vel is someone that we talk all the time too. And it's just like that friendship has been very valuable to me.
That's so awesome. It's super important to have in a content creation field, you know? Now, kind of getting away from friendships and stuff, let's talk about the future of Jesse. What's on the horizon? Any big plans, new forms of content, anything top secret that you can share? I would like to point out, Pastilli shared an idea that he released a week after our podcast that was super top secret. So you might have, you kind of have some competition here. If you have anything top secret, you don't have to share, but what's on the horizon of Jesse?
I mean, just like more, you know what I mean? Like more of everything. I really want to going into like, you know, going into this with this season that we're about to have with Arena, with the wipe. I'm very rekindled in my like motivation and excitement for content creation, and like, you know, definitely hungry to like grow as a content creator, to try new things. Like I've got a lot of ideas on YouTube that are more out of the box than what I'm traditionally doing, but I'm still here 5 years later trying to take my own advice of like, iterate, how does it do? Iterate, how does it do? Like I'm still trying to challenge myself. I'm super excited to keep streaming, and I think 2024 is a year that I want to start the journey of attempting to like incorporate more than just Tarkov into my deal. Awesome. You know what I mean? It's like that's, you know, that's a hard thing for any content creator to do, that's you know, kind of down into one game, and especially when, you know, I've got a family to support. I can't just be like, hey, I'm going to take this wipe off, right? Like if I have 10% of my viewers for 6 months, I just can't do that. But like, you know, I do want to, I want to be more than just the Tarkov guy, you know what I mean? And like, I'm aware of that's a long process, right? That's 100%. A long process, but like, that's something that I want to start doing in 2024 at some point. So that's just awesome. More, I'm just like, I love what I do. I love the space. I love content creation. I still love Tarkov. And I'm just like super excited for what's coming. That's awesome. Well, I'm super excited for what's coming as well, because the future of Jesse is very, very bright. I'm sure 2024 is going to treat you very, very well. Now, we are going to be skipping the chat questions. So sorry, chat, but I did want to ask a few speed questions. And we have some funny ones in here. I always try and make this interesting. Before we head out of here and everything, though, cats or dogs? Dogs.
Dogs. Okay. Hot or cold coffee?
Hot.
Hot coffee. Okay. Favorite drink? Probably coffee.
Probably coffee. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure. If you could only have one for the rest of your life, pizza or coffee?
Pizza.
Pizza? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I thought you were going to say coffee. I thought you were going to shock everybody and say
Dude,
coffee.
Pizza.
That's
Pizza.
Awesome. That's so cool. And we had this conversation when me and you and Belle were playing one day. When sleeping, socks on or off though?
Socks off, but I've definitely slept with socks on before.
Okay, yeah, you're psycho. You're psycho. That's for sure. Yeah. First off, I want to say thank you for being on the podcast, Jesse. Thank you so much for spending time here today.
For sure.
Lastly, where can we find you? Platform, schedule. Let us all know kind of the elevator pitch of JesseKazam.
Yeah, sure. I mean, at JesseKazam everywhere, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all the places I stream 6 days a week, mostly mornings. Every once in a while we do a night stream, but yeah, just vibing, having a good time.
Awesome. Enjoying pizza, rapping about pizza too. You know, that's about
anything I can do to incorporate pizza.
That's so awesome. Well, Jesse, I appreciate you again. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I'm sorry I was sick, but I hope you had a good podcast. I will be DMing you a little bit later, just to kind of like an Amazon review of the podcast. I just want to get your thoughts and stuff. But I appreciate you, Jesse. You have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending time with me, man.
Dude, thank you for having me. It was a blast, man. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
Peace. Bye, Jesse. Oh, man. I love Jesse. I love everybody in the Tarkov community. I'm learning, man. Everybody has such a good story. With that being said, thank you guys so much for checking out the podcast today, whether it be on Twitch, whether it be on Spotify, or whatever it may be. I should point out real quick before I end the recording, don't forget to end the coffee or check out the Coffee with Geno Twitter and the brand new Coffee with Geno TikTok. There will be clips of Jesse's episode on there. There's clips of Arson's episode on there, Pestilly's episode, whatever it may be. And as always, remember to stay safe and stay caffeinated. Peace. I love you. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. And I'm sorry that I was sick, but I hope it was a good episode. Bye. Bye-bye.